If you reflect on the next 10 years, what do you see as important areas of emphasis to continue to transform the way research and evaluation is conducted with tribes and Indigenous communities? And what are some priorities for action?
Yeah, I think one really big priority that stands out to me is sort of taking the engagement of communities to a higher level by really embracing Indigenous methodologies, really trying to understand better what are the ways that Indigenous communities have done scientific work for a long time. How can we bring those effective strategies into the mix with the strategies that we have from Western science? It's really by bringing those together that we're going to be able to strengthen the value of what we can learn. It's going to be more rigorous, it's going to be more valid, it's going to give us information that really we can act on effectively to improve the health and well-being of Indigenous communities.
So historically, the multiple Indigenous tribes that occupied this world always had engagement. The principles of knowing who we are, knowing where we come from, knowing how we're to relate to one another, knowing that we are not the sole existence, that we are stewards in this community or in this world. And science has been very harsh to our tribal communities. And it was from outsiders looking in. So the nature, I think, of our communities is that we are inclusive, we're inviting, we allow everyone to participate. Ideas and individual thoughts are valued. There's several examples of researchers being in communities, and they'll say things like, children are valued, children are seen as a gift, and recognizing that we want to hear, we want to have each individual present, and that their input is important. It's unity in decision making and unity in a shared understanding of values. And I think what has happened is the harshness of science, the harshness of colonization, the harshness of settler mentality has shifted our sense of safety, our sense of protection. And so looking through that lens of harshness, I think we have been diverted from that understanding of being that good relative in all ways and in all circumstances. I think as human nature, we are all observers. We look around us, we see what is occurring in our surroundings. I think this is a lesson that our tribal communities have embraced for generations, that we are observers. Research is not new in our communities. The appreciation that we have always been observers and understood that there are ways of changing our environment, enhancing our environment. I mean, even just with quill work, think about, getting porcupine quill and dyeing them, the different colors. I mean, even with weaving, I mean, there's pottery making. So we understood chemicals. We understood, interactions of different ingredients. I think the thing now, we have focused more on the human interaction of a native population that has had some really harsh realities over the last 500 years. In more recent, 100 years, focusing only on that mother-child interaction has been a detriment for our native communities. So being able to focus on not only the mother-child, but the grandparents, the aunties and uncles, the cousins, the great aunties, the great uncles, that those relationships are seen as viable and important within our communities. And so that extended family concept is now, I think, recognized, especially as we look at the framework for the roadmap, that inclusion of many important relationships. Sometimes children can't go to their parents because of, maybe they feel ashamed, but they can go to their grandmother and tell her, and the grandmother it can intervene and be that additional support. So I think that there's a lot of different kinds of tribal teachings that we have that are coming to the forefront as we think about being able to look at research differently.